Alright, so we're gonna work on this fence today. Um, so again, being a renter, I gotta do something that's like not permanent. So when we first moved in, I got this little yard fence thing, which is it's good enough for the little puppies, but not good enough for the big puppy. Even though the big puppy is an old girl, she likes to jump. And every time that she sees one of the neighborhood dogs, especially our neighborhood mayor Griffin, who just walks around unleashed by himself, he actually takes himself on walks. Anyway, she goes a little crazy when she sees them. So the idea is we're gonna just put up a little bit of a privacy screen that hopefully will serve the purpose of keeping her from jumping, but also actually provide a little bit of privacy for the summer when we're, sort of using the above ground pool and whatnot. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Let's see. So we have these little fence posts. I got them on the Vivor shop. Again, I'm sure there are nicer, better ways to do these things, but I'm on a budget, so here we are. We got Mjolnir, we got the stakes. The reed that we're going to use to cover it up is about 4 feet high, so that means I have to get the 5-foot long stakes. So that one foot will go in the ground, and then the other 4 feet will be above ground. So here we go. I have about 105 feet of fence that I have to cover up. So I have about 20 fence posts total. So that's gonna, doing quick math, put them at about 5 feet apart. So we'll see. We'll see if the math actually works out. Yeah. Before I keep staking these things, I'm gonna go grab the reed to see if it can be just hooked onto it versus if I'm gonna have to tie it. So I just realized that if I'm gonna hook it on, I'd probably just stake the first 3 in the wrong direction. Yeah, I gotta go troubleshoot. So it looks like we're gonna have to tie them up with cable ties. I have so many cable ties. Every package that I open nowadays is full of cable ties. So the moral of the story is it doesn't matter which direction I stake these guys in, because I'm gonna have to tie this thing anyway. I think I will probably stake them the way that I was doing it already, with the hooks facing into the garden as opposed to outwards. I think that'll make it easier to hold these guys. So there we go. So the hardest part of this little process here is sausage fingers. So the cable ties that came with the reed are a little too short to sort of use around the fence, and I was definitely struggling at first to be able to sort of get a good grip around the whole thing. So the ones that came with the stakes are a little bit longer, so we're going to be using those until we run out. And then when we run out of those, I have more cable ties somewhere else. Okay, and then I think I was using the second from the bottom. Alright, so it's at least secure from the top and the bottom. So for this gap here, you can see you can actually cut these. I think you have to like glue the thread so that the whole thing doesn't come apart. And then after you glue it, then you can cut and, you know, sort of trim the space. I'm gonna see how much reed I have left. I bought, so each of these is 16 feet long. So it's 48 inches by 16 feet. And I bought 3 2-packs. So that's 6 of them. Right? Did I do math right? Yeah. And so that's about, what? 36. It's about 96 feet. So it's not enough to cover the full 105, but I do have some decorative vine that my initial plan was just to do this whole thing in the vine. And then when I saw just how much I would need, I had to quickly change my plan because the decorative vine, even when it's cheap, it's not. So I think my plan's going to be to sort of fill in gaps with that decorative vine and just sort of use what I already have. I mean, even though I've been rather resourceful and sort of, well, one, doing a lot of it by myself, and two, just sort of buying more inexpensive materials, it still adds up. Yeah. Okay, so we've been using the third from the top. Don't know that you're going to be able to see what I'm doing over here, but essentially we are sort of hooking it. And of course it's inside out. All right. So essentially we're kind of hooking it like right up here and kind of lifting it. And so we're using the third thread is just so that it can try to stay as even as possible. All right. Let's do that again. Here we go. And so, as you can probably imagine, this is where sausage fingers get a little frustrating to use. And then you just need to make sure that we're pulling all the parts rather evenly so we can get as much stretch and be able to use as much of the 16 feet as possible. Okay. We've got this guy here, so let's go. And this fucking wind, it just does not relax. Like, there are 365 goddamn days in the year. Don't understand why we can't spread fucking wind. evenly. But now I'm gonna go ahead and blow like crazy one day and then just be completely dead the next. Ay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So I wanted to take a second and show this part, which is the cutting part. Now, the instructions this guy say to basically put glue on these little areas here, and then kind of wait to dry and then kind of cut in between. Which is, it's all fine, well, and good, when you're sort of doing this here. The problem is that it's messy. That's why my hands look like this. But two, it doesn't really hold them together. So I started trying to figure out how I can make it work. And then I started thinking, like it dawned on me that you're just basically tying off a pedicle here. So I started thinking as the surgeon that I used to be, and I started doing exactly that. So let me show you how I was doing it. So basically you kind of find where you're going to separate them. And then I was just doing the cable tie, the small cable ties, just because it's a lot quicker than doing anything else. And so one below, one above, so that it almost kind of comes up in like a figure eight. And so then you tie off one side, make sure it's nice and tight. And then you go to the other side. And the other side's just about here, so you do the same thing. Again, one above and one below. And there you go, you tie this one off. And once you've had both pedicles secure, you detach right in the middle. And the idea here, at least when you want to do above and below, is so it doesn't slide off. And if you wanted to put a little bit of extra glue there at the end, you certainly can. It would be a lot less messy than just trying to do that the entire way around. And it's a little time consuming because you got to do it for, you got to do it for every little piece, but that's comes with the territory, right? So yeah, it dawned on me that that's all I was doing. When in medicine, when you're doing surgery, you want to find your plane. So we're gonna try to stay within these little guys here, right? So you find your plane, and then you isolate the blood vessels that feed whatever organ it is that you're about to cut into or cut out. And then you tie off either end of the blood vessel so that you can gain control of your bleeding, and so that your patient doesn't, bleed to death on the OR table. That would be, generally speaking, frowned upon. And yeah, and then you cut and you isolate, and then you keep doing that until the full length of whatever it is that you're removing is gone and you've gained control. And so then I figured that's all that we are doing. And I think part of the issue I'm having issues here is that I've already tied that one off. It's just tied off with the main guy, so we're gonna just go ahead and cut there. Now, I'm not cutting these as I go along because I can use them to like pull and like have traction so I can sort of see where I'm at. Just cut them at the end. Almost, yeah. Here we go. Let's try that again. So again, we find the area that we want to cut. One above, one below. And then we tie it off. Make sure it's nice and tight. Do the same thing on the other side. That was a lot of very dark colors. Just coming around all at once. Come on, dude. There we go. And tie this guy off. And that's how it's looking so far. I finished most of whatever would fit a continuous roll of the reed. So now I'm just sort of adding the little areas where I need to cut. So, okay. And so we're just gonna keep doing that. So again, see, here's our plane. And so we're gonna get this guy in there, one above, one below. And like I said, I mean, I did use the glue on the other side, so I might just glue the ends here once I'm done. Yeah, it'll be like adding some extra stuff at the end. Now, if I were to just keep going down this way, I'm essentially going to end up with this kind of pulling and putting too much pressure, so I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to cut maybe like 2 more, and then I'm going to start from the bottom up. And that's just so this isn't putting pressure, kind of like breaking it as I'm trying to gently and separate it in a controlled fashion. And I'm here talking like I'm some kind of reed fence expert, like I've done this before. I haven't. This is my first time doing this. And yeah, definitely not an expert. Just kind of going with it, just troubleshooting as I go. I know, that's pretty fucking fabulous. Oops. No, there you go. That's what's going on here. Hold on. I gotta get this through there. Get over here. There we go. There you go. There we go. Alright. Great. Yeah, you can see that the more I cut, it kind of like keeps putting pressure on that. And so I don't want it to lengthen too much because I don't want it to stretch what I've done so far. So let's see where we're at here. Okay. The downside to switching is that then you might lose sight of your plane. So you gotta keep going. Okay. So let's at least get this one here. Coming back. There we go. Now let's at least get this one here. Come on. Don't make me move. Come on, dude. Alright, let's see if we can do that part. Like, Now, like I said, if you want it to be extra certain that everything is secure, you can just take a little super glue and put it there at the ends. But this way, you know, it's already secured to something, so you don't actually have to like get your hands dirty trying to press the ends together. But this is the way that my brain could come up with a solution. So, or at least rather, this is the solution that my brain could come up with. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Not sure what the crows want. Yes, babies, what is it? Okay, and so now let's see. So we have this whole part here. Now we gotta do 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5 more parts. 5 more times. I gotta do this. Okay. Let's see. Show you what it looks like when I'm done. All right, and it is done. Well, at least the main part of it. I still have this little hole right there and a hole in the back behind the overground pool. But she's not gonna get over there because the HVAC is over there, and well, there's a bunch of stuff in between the greenhouses here. But yep, it's all done. And yep, so we went ahead and put some extra sort of straps in between. It's tied to the existing fence that was there, just to give it a little bit of extra sturdiness when it's windy. So yeah, man, I have to reinforce the little corner there, but yeah, for the most part, this guy's done. This guy is done. And Miss Chai can run around and, you know, do her little chai thing. Alright. Still got a few little lights and stuff that I'm going to put up. Not tonight, because I'm tired. It's another day. But yeah, looking good. Looking good. Shy, over here, baby. Come here. Come here. Here. Chai. You want treats? No, right now, Mom, I want to explore. Come on. Let's go get bread. You want Mallorca? You want Mallorca? Come on. Taking shape. Hello.